Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Now, one thing that we know about the Twitter mob, the Liberal Hive Mind, the Blue Anon crew, the Vote Blue No Matter Who crew, whatever you want to call them, the leftist crowd in general, one thing we know for sure is that they're generally not tuned in to what's going on. The Liberal Hive Mind follows the leftist narrative and whatever CNN and MSNBC is saying, but very rarely follows the actual facts. They absorb what is told to them, and that's pretty much about it. And that right there is a significant factor into the collective reaction, or the overreaction that seems to pop up over and over again. Democrats are living in some alternate CNN, MSNBC reality, totally unaware of what's going on in certain reports, and then once the truth or the actual news drops, well, it's a complete shock and surprise to them, and they're utterly dismayed as a collective hive mind. Well, it seems as though with the latest firing of Brian Stelter, and with more reports of CNN's ownership group taking the network into a different direction, something we've been reporting on for well over 6 months at this point, well, lefties on Twitter and the Blue Anon crowd, and specifically CNN viewers, of course, the phenomenon of your brain on CNN, well, they're completely shocked. In fact, they're losing their damn minds as they start to cope with the reality that, well, they might have lost CNN and some of their favorite partisan left-wing hack figures. I was about to say like Don Lemon, but really it's like Don Lemon, Jim Acosta, Wolf Blitzer, Anderson Cooper, Jake Tapper. I mean, the list goes on. Pretty much every headline anchor at CNN. Well, some of these partisan hacks might not be there for too much longer, and CNN viewers are seething. Let me give you guys a glimpse into the liberal hive mind, and of course, let's just talk about what's going on here. We got some stuff to get into, friends, so without further ado, let's roll the tape. Alright folks, take a look at this. New CNN boss issues stark warning to employees. Quote, "You might not like what's coming." CNN's new president, Chris Litch, likely did not calm the nerves of those concerned about major changes, such as staff reductions and firings, during an employee phone call on Friday. According to sources who were on the call, Litch warned CNN staffers that they might not like decisions that are coming down the pipe. The idiom is coming down the pike, not the pipe, but anyways, we'll move on. Another indication that the flagging legacy cable news outlet is about to experience significant upheaval. I want to acknowledge that this is a time of significant change, and I know that many of you are unsettled, Litch said. According to several who attended Friday's editorial call, The Hollywood Reporter noted, "There will be more changes and you might not understand it or like it." Litch, who replaced Jeff Zucker at the helm of CNN earlier this year, began evaluating the extremely partisan on-air talent shortly after he took over, and the phone call on Friday comes on the heels of news that one of the network's hosts, Brian Stelter, whose weekly Reliable Sources program has seen tanking ratings for more than a year, was leaving after his show was reportedly canceled. Quote, "No one is safe or secure right now," one source on the phone call told the outlet Deadline. "I think people are legitimately sad that Brian is leaving," one staffer at CNN told The Hollywood Reporter anonymously. "He was a big presence at the network, but understand that Chris has to put his stamp on the network." Well, you heard it right there, folks, from an inside source. No one at CNN is safe. Of course, we already knew this because of all the reporting, and I mean, frankly, because of what's been going on. If you think Brian Stelter was the only one on the chopping block, well, of course, you're not paying attention to what's been said or what's been reported. There is a massive shakeup underway at CNN. You might have noticed also that Jeffrey Toobin, of course, you know who Jeffrey Toobin is, right? Just last week resigned from his post at CNN. You think it's a coincidence that Jeffrey Toobin resigns the same week that Brian Stelter's show gets canceled? Absolutely not. It's probably one of those, no, I broke up with her, she didn't break up with me kind of situations. This new ownership group and this new CNN president is coming in and cleaning house. I mean, for Pete's sakes, I might even be able to watch CNN after all this is said and done. But it's very clear that the new ownership group is coming in, not playing any games, and it's frankly a nice trend to see. Netflix and Paramount Plus recently telling their staff that some decisions we make might offend you or might be unsettling, but you're just gonna have to deal with it. Well, the new CNN ownership group is saying the exact same thing. A lot of the network hosts might be fired, you might be fired. No one is safe. The network is moving in a completely different direction, and well, just deal with it. Because we're tired of being the biggest laughingstock in the news network industry. It's a beautiful thing, folks, and most rational people are thinking, alright, well, that's a pretty good thing. CNN has been utterly unwatchable for years. It's been such a left-wing partisan disgrace. It's a good thing for one of the flagship legacy news networks to go back to real news, or at least as close as they can possibly get. Well, that's what regular, normal, rational human beings are thinking. The leftist Twitter sphere, or the liberal hive mind, the blue anon crowd, the people suffering from their brain on CNN, well, not exactly the same kind of reaction. Russell L. Honor writes, "It's been reported that the new chief at CNN has met privately with Republican members of Congress recently to get their views on how CNN might be more accommodating to Republican positions when airing the news on CNN. This report should not surprise both sides." And here are the liberal reactions. "There aren't two sides when one party is fascist. Hashtag boycott CNN. Brooklyn Dead Defiant writes, "Stop watching CNN. F CNN supporting seditious, fear-mongering, lying, women-hating POS party. It's so vile. CNN is in talks with Republican leadership to air both sides of the political spectrum. The right's voice is filled with half-truths and disinformation. CNN is now airing lies from the right versus truths from the left. This is not news when you constantly air untruths. For the love of God, stop watching CNN. I'm effing sick and tired of people who watch and complain about CNN, who then continue to watch CNN every effing day." Cenk Uygur chimes in. "New owner of CNN says he wants the network to be more centrist. That means kiss more Republican behinds and pretend they might be right about things they're factually incorrect about. That's not journalism. That's eliminating factual coverage and replacing it with political correctness." What drug is Cenk Uygur on? Or probably a better question, what cocktail of drugs is this guy on? Being more centrist, being more neutral is apparently just political correctness, where you pretend that the right is sometimes right about things, but really actually they're factually incorrect. I think this is what they mean when they say liberalism is a mental disorder. This is not the way that normal people react to things. And it's a continuation from the topic that we've been touching on for a long time, that what leftoids want is not an arena of ideas, but rather they want to suppress and destroy your ability to have any type of representation within the media sphere or the cultural sphere. They want to destroy you. They want you to not exist. And you can clearly tell that they're struggling to cope with the fact that CNN may no longer be their network. The network that they can turn on and just get anti-Trump, Trump derangement syndrome nonsense shoved down their throats 24/7. They want a news media that works as a tool to attack Republicans. They don't want Republican views to even be aired. They're struggling to cope, folks, and probably the one guy who's struggling the most is Cenk Uygur. Here's another tweet that he recently put out. "If you think that @Brian Stelter is too partisan, you're a joke." @CNN isn't going toward better journalism by promising not to hold politicians in the media accountable. It's going toward worse journalism. It's not objective to call everything even. It's political correctness. Again, this guy just doesn't get it. He's literally telling you that he thinks CNN's job is to hold politicians in the media accountable, and when he says that, he means specifically Republicans. That to him is journalism. He then goes on to create this framing that it's not objective to call everything even, as if that's what neutral journalism is. Just calling everything even. All points win. Everyone gets a trophy. No, that's not at all what's happening here, Cenk. I know it's really hard for you to understand, but what journalism is supposed to be is to just present the facts, to challenge mistruths neutrally, not with a political spin, to just tell you this is what's happening in a very basic neutral sense without any political framing whatsoever, for then you to make your own mind. CNN isn't promising to shill Republicans. They're promising to give Republicans a voice, an equal voice at the table, and to stop promoting left-wing hack nonsense as if it's journalism. And really, I don't get what the big deal is. If anything, it might be good for you if people want left-wing nonsense, left-wing partisan garbage that serves nothing but attacking Republicans with all kinds of mistruths and falsehoods. Well, then they can turn on the TYT, and now you, Cenk, might be able to start a refugee campaign to pull all the disgruntled former CNN watchers to your garbage network. Who am I kidding? That's probably exactly what Cenk Uygur is doing. His next tweet was probably, "We at TYT are absolutely shocked and appalled by this new CNN direction. We promise to never be neutral, always be partisan, and continue to lie and attack Republicans as CNN decides that it no longer will. Subscribe at tytbuffalo.com. I'm not even gonna look at his Twitter timeline. I guarantee you that's exactly what he's doing. But that's also what I got for you guys. The left is losing their mind at losing yet again another piece of cultural power. Seems as though they're slowly losing the media. But like usual, folks, if you enjoyed the video, then make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel if you're up for it. I'm gonna get back to work though. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.